Okay. Welcome to another episode of Pizza Punk, and we're just gonna check to make sure that our stream is working because I don't have a producer to properly produce this. So therefore, I have to do that stuff myself. Oh, there it is. Okay, we're good. We're good to go. And I'd like to welcome a very special guest. He goes by many names. He's the master cog. He's Adney. He's Andy Shernoff, founding member, brain brain matter of the Dictators. Welcome, Andy. Pizza Punk. How are you?
Am I on? Did you get me combing my hair?
No, of course not.
I thought I was in the green room getting ready for the show. Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. You sound good.
All right,
I'm
good.
more worried about myself than you, actually. And I
Okay.
hope. Yeah. Oh shit. All right, now we're good. Okay, now we're good. We good. Go ahead. How you doing?
I'm good.
You've been productive during this whole situation.
Pretty productive. Pretty
That's
productive.
good.
You know, I got to admit that not having I tend to sleep late, you know, because I don't have any place to go and have no regular schedule. But I do have things that I've been
Yeah.
working on musically, and I did a lot of work on my house, and just still going crazy, but I'm safe and
Are
alive.
you still in New York?
I live in upstate. I moved out of New York. I
Oh,
live upstate New York.
nice.
I'm in the country. I'm a country boy.
Nice. I'm technically upstate New York too,
Where are you?
although we don't think of ourselves as upstate New York, but everybody who lives in the city goes, "Oh yeah, that's upstate New York." I'm
Where
in
are you? Westchester?
Westchester. Yeah.
Yeah, West. That's not upstate.
Yeah. I know it's not, but to other anybody in, New York, New York City is like, "Oh yeah, that's upstate." But it's like, I don't think that's upstate.
Yeah, I'm in Ulster County. I'm pretty country right now.
Nice. That's
I got
great.
bears and bobcats and fisher
Beautiful.
cats.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I ain't going
Um
anywhere.
So, so Andy, so this is so cool, man. So for those, so I mean, listen, if you're not familiar with the Dictators, get off your ass, go pick up a copy of Girl Go Crazy, Dictators Girl Go Crazy, and give it a spin. This is one of my the albums of my formative years.
Don't
Um,
blame me.
I'm sorry.
Don't blame me for how
I
you did
no,
that.
I do blame you. I do blame you.
Another one.
Um, you know, it's like, and I'll tell you something. I know you're a New York Jew. I'm a New York Jew. And so even, I found the Dictators when I was in high school, which was in the very, very early aughts, like, 2003, 2004.
Late,
And
very late.
yeah. And so you guys had already been around for 30. I think that was, you guys were kind of doing stuff with D.F.F.D. And,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That was we were around for 30 years by then.
right. Yeah. But that's when I was like just discovering you guys. I found Please Kill Me and whatnot, read that book, just started going through all those bands. But the thing that I connected most with the Dictators is that I'm a
Oh,
New York Jew. I'm a Jewish, being a Jew and, hearing about this band, like all these Jewish boys making this, music. Some people call it proto punk, some people call it, just like whatever, punk rock, whatever you want to call it. Um, it just I don't know, it gave me like it gave me pride, just like I felt well represented, in that sort of, echelon, I guess. I don't know.
yeah. A few people
Um,
have said that. Have felt that hey, there's a bunch of New York Jews, and I identify with their attitude and the lyrics and the whole thing. And you most a lot of bands may have Jews in it, but they don't advertise that fact.
right,
Most
right.
people
But
just
that
do.
was right. And that's what's kind of like, I mean, that was kind of interesting too. And what's interesting is it's like all the songs, like all the so the that album is super important to the concept and idea of the original whatever counterculture punk rock movement, because all that stuff you're writing about is essentially like what that's like kind of like the criteria of just you know what would become punk. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I always say, yeah, I say, people think of punk rock and they think of the Ramones and Sex Pistols, and that's certainly the sound of punk rock. That Ramones defined it, but we were doing lyrically defining
Right.
lyrical attitude before them. Even though we had songs in that vein on our first record, which came out in '75, uh, but that's well, people say, oh, they're not punk, and in a lot of ways we are punk, because every record is different. We're garage, we're metal, we're hard rock, we're straight rock, we're surf band. You know, we cover a lot of bases. We just didn't do one thing, and that's pretty. My tastes are very varied, and every record is different. And that's when I was growing up. Bands didn't make every record sound the same, even though I love the Ramones. And the first four records to me, it's like just greatest hits. Every record, every song, those first four albums are greatest hits records. But when I was listening to the Beatles or the Stones or the Kinks, every record was different. They went off on tangents, and that's what I thought a band should be. So I followed that direction, and the Ramones followed a different direction.
I have like 1,000 different questions and things that I want to say based on everything you just said, but I'll start here. Um, yeah, for me, lyrically is exactly right. I mean, especially with a song like Two Tub Man, which for me, which is exactly what I identified with in high school. Education ain't for me. I
Mhm.
drink Coca-Cola for breakfast. Saying things like I think Lou Reed is a creep. It's just like it's almost like it just goes against the grain of like what a rock song is supposed to be. It's almost like fuck it. I'm just gonna write what's on my mind. This is who I am. This is how I live my life. And it's just it was just a beautiful setup. And what's interesting too is, I always felt growing up, my imagination when I'd look at that album cover and I'd see, HDM on the cover, Handsome Dick Manitoba's on the cover, and you guys are in the little picture. It's like I always felt like there was this inside joke at that time before he became the lead singer, like this inside joke with
We
Handsome
were
Dick
all about the
Manitoba.
inside. Let me tell you, we were all about the inside joke.
Yeah, you
We were
really feel,
entertaining ourselves.
yeah, you feel
And for
that.
some reason, we were young and naive enough to think everybody else was going to get it, but nobody got
Yeah.
it. Until, years later, people got
Yeah. You just get the feel like just the way that he just like jumps in there. He jumps in there for, at certain times and whatnot and jumps back out. And really just that whole record top to bottom, which is interesting because you have these two covers. You have two covers on this album. And one is you know, I Got You, Babe. Are you doing that to be ironic? Like what's the deal? What's the deal with that cover?
We never had played that, and I don't even know if we ever played it live. Our producer Murray said you should do this, and look, when you're making your first album,
Right.
you're a teenager, maybe I was 20, 21 years old. I don't know how old, 20 years old, you just, producer says, do it, you did it, Um, California Sun was something we were doing. It's a song we loved.
Great song.
Of course, it was before the Ramones. But
I was gonna
I
say,
got you,
what is
bands.
the
I guess it was ironic. Yeah, I guess the Murray thought it was ironic, but it was Murray's suggestion that we do it.
Well, and then yeah, that was another thing I always wondered because the Ramones cover California Sun too, but you guys did it first. Do you think that they saw you do it, thought it was a good song, and then did it themselves?
I think they saw us do it, thought it was a good song, and they thought they could do
Yeah,
it also. You
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you
they
guys
knew we
started
did it.
73.
We say again.
No, you guys started 73. They started 74. You got before either one puts out an album, you both are doing, there must be some sort of crossing of paths in New York City, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Joey used to see us play all the time at
yeah.
this club called the Coventry in Queens. It was a glam rock club, and we were still punk. We were dressing up in jeans, leather jackets, sneakers, and Joey was in the audience, head above everybody, wearing his satin pants, platforms. He looked like the guy kid.
Full glammed out.
Yeah, but he looked like the guy people beat up in high school. he was the guy that people beat up in high school. He was an outsider. He had some mental illness. He looked weird. You know, but he saw us through California Sun all the time. He
Yeah.
was he was a fan of the band before I really be. I should see him and I would talk to him, but I wasn't friends with him at the time. You know, but they knew, and I'm sure the other guys in the Ramones knew that they heard our record. I know they heard our record before their record was released.
Mm.
So but free country, everybody can record us
Yeah.
any
No.
song they want.
No, I love them both for different reasons. I mean, there's, I mean, Johnny is, I mean, that the whole thing that the brilliance of the Ramones is their simplicity, right? And then, on the flip side, almost the Dictators are like on the other side of the coin because you have like, I mean, you just have like, you got someone like Ross the Boss and, Scott top 10, just carving it up,
Mhm.
it's just completely on the other side of the coin. Um, but agree with you about the first four Ramones albums. I feel the same way. The first four are immaculate in every sense of the word, untouchable, immaculate, perfect. However, as the years go on, and as I, have dived deeper into the Ramones, discography and like, heard later albums and stuff, I think they're, in my opinion, I think their last great record was Too Tough to Die, I think was a great record. Um, but Joey's voice, what's interesting about Joey's voice, even if the music doesn't change much, Joey's voice evolved quite a bit. He started singing so much differently. And you were in the studio because you wrote songs, right? You wrote songs and you played guitar or bass on anything?
I played some guitar and some bass on some of the records, the later records.
So you were in the inner sanctum. Did you notice is there a reason why his voice changed like that
Like
as
he wanted to do different, sing differently. And matter of fact,
gotcha.
I had bands with him outside the Ramones. There were two bands. There's this
Really?
band called The Resistance,
Huh.
which was like his political statement, and we used to do soul songs. If you go
Huh.
online, there's some stuff of him singing completely. You wouldn't even think this guy was in the Ramones. And then there was the band that recorded the solo records, which was me, Marky, and Daniel,
Right. Don't worry about
which was
me.
Ramon Z.
Yeah.
But the vocals, I mean, I think his best vocal ever was what's it? The Louis Armstrong song, "Beautiful World,"
Oh,
"Wonderful World."
yeah.
It's what
Yeah.
happens when you get old. Simple things. "Wonderful World," I think is his best vocal ever.
Hmm.
This is the last vocal he did before he died.
Wow.
So, you know, very sad that he wasn't able to continue. But he liked experimenting with his voice. He liked singing deeper and fuller, and he didn't want to double track it anymore. Um,
I
and you're
actually
right,
like it. I always
his voice did change, and I think for the better.
yeah,
Improved.
totally agree. I had, whatever one thinks or says about the later Ramones catalog, one thing is for certain, Joey's voice never wavered.
Yeah,
And he always sang, his choices were always very interesting, the way he chose to sing.
yeah.
And at first when I would first hear that, I would just be it would be, I would instantaneously dismissed it. And then as years go on, I'd be like, what, this is actually this is something else. And you came up by over here, over yonder at the Sleepy Hollow at the Old Dutch Cemetery. You guys did the Pet Cemetery video up here,
Yes, yeah,
right? Yeah.
yes.
That's right. That's 5 minutes that way.
Okay, yeah, yes, we did that.
Cool.
Mm.
It was cold that night.
Were you there?
No, I just read about it in a million books because I'm a
What album was that?
ginormous friggin' Ramones nerd, but
Yeah, Pet Cemetery was on what? I can't remember what album that was on,
Brain Drain.
but the Brain Drain, yes.
Dee went to Stephen King's house and he found the book and he wrote the song in 5 minutes or something. He like flipped through the book and then wrote that song.
Yeah, DD was an absolute genius. He could just whip out a song like that.
it's so weird how like to you they're people. They're just people that you knew, but
Hmm.
to me, who I never met any of the Ramones. Frankly, I never saw the Ramones. I was too young to see them really. To me, it's like when these people leave us, they become like mythological, and so it's like you're just like, oh yeah, Dee Dee, yeah right, Dee Dee's a genius. Me, like fucking Dee Dee Ramone, man. It's like I don't know. It's weird to think about in that
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
context.
Well, when people die, PD was also kind of a knucklehead.
Yeah,
He had mental issues. So
his
how
book was interesting too. I read his book, Lobotomy.
I
Did you have you? When are you going to do a book? You going to do any book, anything like that?
I think about it, then I think I don't know, a lot of work. Maybe.
Another thing I want to touch on. Two things. So I saw you guys. The one time I saw you guys was at Little Steven's Underground Rock Garage Festival, August 14th, 2004. So I just got into the Dictators. I heard Iggy Pop was headlining this, or Iggy the Stooges had gotten back together. I'd just gotten into the Stooges. They're headlining this festival. Saw so many bands. What a unique experience to see so many freaking bands for $20 to
Yeah.
see so many goddamn bands. And you guys played a 4-song set, and you played
I think we did
Who
five.
Will Say. I'm sorry.
I think we did 5 songs.
Well, I remember you did Who Will Save Rock and Roll, which was so appropriate because, like, literally a couple hours later, I saw the Stooges covered in bruises, and it was perfect. And actually, my chipped tooth right here is from that mosh pit.
Really?
Somebody, oh yeah, somebody rocked me right in the mouth, and I spit out fragments of my tooth, and I was like, I just kept moshing. I was just like having the time of my life. It was like, it was during real cool time and no fun. And he's like, this isn't Nazi Germany. Everybody get on the stage. Everybody's running for the stage and whatnot. But you guys were the Stooges were an influence for the Dictators even back then, all the way back then in the early '70s, on some level.
Yeah, more MC5 more than the Stooges, but I certainly
Right, that would make sense.
love the Stooges. One of the greatest shows I ever saw was Iggy and the Stooges right after Raw Power in the summer of '74, playing Max's
Wow,
Kansas City.
wow,
4 nights. I saw him 3 nights.
wow.
Maybe you could fit 150 people in the room. It's all chairs and tables. Those shows were absolutely the scariest, most thrilling rock shows I ever saw. The interesting thing about that little Steven show, he wanted to do. There was a platform that turned on stage.
Yes.
So basically, one band was going to play, and the band would set up behind it, and then it would turn, and then next to it, there'd be no breaks between the songs.
Right.
You just did that? Yeah.
There
Yeah.
it is.
So the platform broke. Steve was freaking out, and so there was no sound check. We just had every band had to rush on stage, plug in, and play their songs, and we everybody had to cut their set.
You guys were great. You guys were so
I
great.
remember
It
us
was
doing people. I think I just remember we just sounded really powerful on that stage. A lot of
oh,
bands did not sound as powerful as us.
you guys were, and you were so tight. It was like you were like what's it called?
So
Telepathic. You guys were
telepath. Yeah.
telepathic
Mhm.
on the stage. Friggin', Scott's in the pocket. Ross is soloing like crazy. You guys are just going bananas, man. You played "Stay with Me," which is a great song. I think you finished with "Stay with Me."
Yeah, we usually that was a kind of a closer. People always seem to want
Great
that.
close.
Yeah, that was our
Great
closer.
song.
We found that out, but we had been touring a bunch before this, so we were tight.
Yeah, it showed, man. And this was being filmed, and it never came out. The tape
It never
never.
did. No,
Those mother effers kills me.
I'm not sure what happened.
There
I
was
think we
something
had like Chris Columbus, the director, was gonna direct it. And I'm
really.
not sure what happened to it.
You know, it's funny. It's like you have that many acts. Something's got to go wrong with something if you're filming all those. I mean, Bo Diddley was there. I saw Bo
Bro
Diddley, Nancy
Diddley,
Sinatra,
Pete
Fuzz
Best.
Tone.
Pete Best was there.
Yes. Oh my God. I'd never seen any of the Beatles. I didn't know you were such a Beatles fan or that you're a fan of the Beatles. I love the Beatles, and to see Pete Best there for me was such like a, because I still haven't seen Paul live or any of those guys live, but it's just like I think it's so goofy that the only Beatle to see live
Yeah.
is Pete Best. And he had two drummers. It was so weird. He was a drummer, and then he had another drummer drumming with him.
Well, he's known as a drummer, but I guess he really can't drum anymore. And
Yeah.
it's somebody who would really keep the rhythm.
Yeah. It was
I
so
remember
cool.
seeing him a little for a few seconds, but New Dolls played.
Yes, that was unfucking for me.
The Strokes played.
You know what I felt about the Strokes, honestly? I felt like, because at one point the singer, he jumped into the pit or something. And again, just my own personal POV on it, not saying this is what it was. It felt like he was trying to do something salacious because he knew that that they were going on before, Iggy, and like, whatever Iggy was going to blow everything out. So he was trying to, do something similar, and it just paled in comparison. It just didn't. It felt disingenuous to me. I don't know. But the dolls were great. It
Maybe.
was
I mean,
really cool.
they're not really killer, known for their killer performances.
Who?
Strokes, So I think
Yeah.
they felt they had to put on a show for the movie. I
You know what? I never thought about it like that. That is a really good point, actually. Maybe it's just like, hey, we're on tape. Now is the time to do something that will be captured on tape. You know. And you went to, speaking of the dolls, so you went to school with Johnny Thunders.
Elementary school, yeah.
You guys knew each other back then? Like, you remember him, or it was just like a
Yeah, he
coincidental?
wasn't in my class or anything,
Right.
but he was in the schoolyard. We
Huh.
was playing stickball, one of the guys.
Wow.
And I moved out of the neighborhood at sixth grade. So after that,
Gotcha.
I
Gotcha.
told sight. Matter of fact, when he saw the doll, I didn't even know it was him. It looked the
Oh,
same.
really?
Yeah, I think I have a picture of him on my website of him in fourth grade,
Oh, really?
and one of those class pictures.
I used to wait around on that Dictators website like that, a decade before last, in like 2004 to 2006 maybe, and I would just constantly waiting for some news, waiting for something to happen.
We
Uh,
were not working. No, we were not
you
working.
Yeah, no, you were not. I know. I was super mad about it because I was just like, I just want. And then you did one of the final nights at CBGB's, which I thought was really poignant and good and cool.
Yes, it's final weekend. Yeah,
Yeah,
where they
that must have been
played Friday
special.
and Saturday, and
Yeah.
then Patti Smith played on Sunday.
You know, again, maybe it's because of the way that she's portrayed in Please Kill Me. I don't know Patty. You probably do know Patty, but
Oh
of
well,
all the bands that have played CBGBs and made CBGBs what it was, the idea that she was the last thing on that stage kind of annoys me a little bit. And why would it annoy me? Because what does it really matter? But I don't know. I just kind of like, I don't know. I thought
she
that
was
was
the
kind of
first.
like,
She was just about the first one, also.
okay, so maybe okay. So thanks for saying that. I didn't know that. Maybe
I
that.
mean, television was the
More.
first, but the
Right,
first to really draw a crowd there was Patti Smith.
right. And
Before
that goes,
I saw Patti Smith there before I saw the Ramones there.
wow. And that's interesting too, because, you were saying, oh, well, musically, we don't sound like the atypical punk rock, but that was the thing, that first wave of punk rock, there was no uniform sound. The Ramones might have synthesized it later, but Blondie, Television, Talking Heads,
Meet DeVille.
Dictators, Mink DeVille. You think about Jane County. All these bands are super friggin' different, man. And
Absolutely.
it's the idea of punk as a counterculture is more about being counterculture, right? Than it is necessarily
Well, that's the American
sounding.
punk. In England,
Yeah,
they sort of all imitations of the Ramones, all the bands.
right. Because they went over there in '76,
Yeah, they
December
created.
of '76,
Yes.
or no, was it July?
No, actually, July
July,
4th.
July 4th, right? And it's kind of cool because it's like, It's like that's and I really want to. I'll segue this into the pizza part because we can't call it pizza punk if we don't talk about pizza as well. But 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 that's what's kind of interesting about, like, look at something. This is what I say every show. You look at pizza might not have originated in New York, but the idea of pizza comes over from Italy, comes to New York. New York gives birth to what pizza is, and then it goes everywhere. And it's the same thing with punk rock, almost, in the sense that the Ramones, right? The Ramones go over to England. All these guys are in the audience, the Sex Pistols guys, the Clash guys, the Damned guys, anybody who's going to start a band in like a month or two sees the Ramones, sees what they're doing, and then that, in mainly in the form of the Sex Pistols, if you're thinking about like an international publicity scale, comes back to America. And everybody's like, "Oh, the stuff punk out of England." Like, but it's like really not in the same way that we got the English invasion, all the American blues goes over to Liverpool and all those towns. They listen to it. All the English boys come back over, the Stones, the Beatles.
Well, they made another genre. English blues is a separate genre from American
Right.
blues, which I
Right.
think is great. Some great records. John Mayall,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
made some great records. Yeah, true. It went over there, but then it came back. When we went over there, Dictators, we toured with Stranglers, and we saw what was going
Oh,
on there in England
whoa.
in '77. All of a sudden, whoa, what's going? Because in America, punk rock was a little niche.
Yeah.
It was not commercial. It was just a
Yeah.
few little fans and a few little clubs in a few cities. You
Yeah.
know, but over in England, it was in the charts. It was on TV. It was about fashion. It was about politics. It was about class. You know, it was all across the culture. The punk rock was influential, and the bands were huge with hits and big crowds, much bigger than America.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. Wow.
affected that affected the American scene.
Right. Right. Yeah. And that's, not well, I don't know if this is considered it's not, I guess, I don't know, you have a lot of PC stuff this today that where it's like, there's a lot of like, people are very careful about cultural appropriation. And what I find difficult about these ideas, these contemporary ideas, is that isn't that like what creates like these beautiful blending and like, isn't that what creates these subcultures? Like, this goes over here, these people do it, whatever it is, and then it seeds and germinates and spreads all over the place.
Yeah, I hate PC culture. I'm totally anti PC. I'm anti cancel culture. I say everything is open to be mocked. Everything is, you're allowed to have any opinion, and you shouldn't be punished for having your opinion, even though somebody else finds it offensive, because that's what free speech is. Being
Right.
able to listen to somebody who is saying something that really irritates you. That is free speech.
Yeah. But I mean, like, it's just the idea of like, I see from time to time, it's not a lot, I don't think it's like a lot, but from time to time you see like whistleblowers being like, look at that cultural appropriation of XYZ 1 2 3. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, but like, why do you got to keep it separate? Why can't this person embrace this thing? Because then they might do something that's really cool. Like, that's what happened. Isn't that what creativity is? You want to
Yes.
do something, it goes through your personal computer, and then it comes out. Like, a great example, to go back to the Ramones. The Ramones want to write a Beach Boys song, and Sheena's punk rocker comes out. Like,
Or
I
Rockaway
mean,
Beach.
or
You know?
Rockaway Beach. It's like what a
Right.
beautiful
Right.
thing.
They thought they were writing Beach Boys songs. And in their
Right.
brain, hey,
Right.
we love the Beach Boys. Let's write a
Yeah.
Beach Boys song. And we come
Yeah.
out with something that doesn't sound like the Beach Boys at all.
Yeah.
I know. I agree. I agree. I think there are problems in society today, and how people relate with um,
This is true. This is definitely true.
a lot of
But let me
people.
ask you my thesis question, if I may.
What kind of question?
My thesis, the thesis question of this
Thesis?
whole show. Yeah, the thesis
Thesis?
question. Thesis.
What are you, a
Thesis.
college kid? Oh
not
my
for many,
God.
many years.
Education.
Education was and was not for me. I never took the SATs. I didn't. But man, oh my God, I used to sing that song and I used to think it's one of those moments. I've had a few songs like that, which is why talking to you is very special to me right now. I've had a few songs where I felt that. I felt that way with, I'm sure, I don't know if you're familiar with them or you probably don't care much for them, but the Misfits, the song I Turned Into a Martian, that song meant so much to me because that's like, and again, it goes back to this idea of like, even if you're an apolitical punk band, like you don't think of American punk necessarily as political, as you were saying that it's more political in England. When you're making some sort of art or when you're making some sort of statement, there is some sort of politics attached to it. It's just not politics. It's social politics. It's teenage politics. And so when I'm listening to a song like Two Tub Man, Edumacation Ain't For Me, I'm like, yeah, I'm on the Edumacation Ain't For Me party. I'm on the I drink Coca-Cola for breakfast party, Jackie Onassis, Paisley,
It was, I was creating a character that was the most antisocial, offensive guy, in the neighborhood, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like, but that's the beautiful part when you connect with music or a song that like really means like it speaks to you or it speaks to how you feel. That's the beauty of music. It reaches into you.
Communication. Music is
Yeah.
all art is communication,
Yeah.
and you can somebody, and it's all one on one. One of
Yeah.
my one of the things that thrills me more than anything else was when
Yeah.
some band or some guy covers my song. Even a guy, hey, I recorded your song in my kitchen with a drum machine, and it's him playing, and it's kind of sloppy, and and he suddenly go, "Wow, thank you so much," because that means that my lyrics and my music touched this person, and that's what it's all about.
Tell me about okay, so I remember when you came out with, there was like I remember when God, you had the live album that came out in 2005. And then you did Every Day is a Saturday, the B-sides. And I'm going through the B-sides.
Well, it's
And
not
then
really B sides. It was basically what's in the vault.
Vault, okay,
Get out the
outtakes,
vault.
right, right. And you have a song, and then we got to talk about pizza for a split second, but I just want to talk about this. There's this one song that to me, everything I listened to was great, but there was one song where I was like, why the hell wasn't this on the album? Like I'm baffled. And I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, Fireman's Friend is from The Girls Go Crazy
That
era?
was record. That was our demo for it to get us signed by Epic to record. That was recorded in 1973.
Get the hell
I
out
don't
of
know why
here.
we. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We heard
Dude.
the song. Backseat Boogie was on another one that.
Yeah, that's a good one too. But Fireman's Friend, like, I'm like, wow, this fits that album. Like, it's such a weird lyric. Like, again, I feel like I'm listening to some inside joke that I don't understand.
It is an
Fireman's
inside
Friend.
joke.
Yeah. Okay. So
About
and forevermore.
it's a Superman episode.
It's a what?
From a Superman episode, the TV show
The
Superman.
Max Fleischer cartoons?
No, it wasn't a kind of cartoon. It was a Reeves. What was his name? Steve
George
Reeves.
Reeves.
George
Reeves.
Reeves,
Yeah.
who committed suicide. But it was
Huh.
a very popular TV show when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And Fireman's Friend was an episode about these guys when they would set a fire. I don't know if they set a fire. They would come in their coffee truck and they would give coffee to the firemen, and then they would put on an asbestos suit and they would go in. They rob the bank where they set the fire or something. So I wrote a song about
Dude, I forevermore had it stuck in my head for
total
a long
total
time.
inside joke that nobody ever gets unless they're old geezers.
But it's just so funny because it's just like, and like everyone's, I'll just like be walking down the street or whatever, and I'll just be like, Fireman's Friend. It just rattles around in your brain.
Yeah, one of the first songs I ever wrote. First song I ever wrote was Two Tub Man. And
Really?
Yeah, Fireman's might have been second or third song. Yeah.
I think Two Tub Man is I mean, everything Back to Africa, Two Tub Man, Master Race Rock are like the three quintessential Dictators songs for me, I think. I mean, I love I Am Right so much. I love Burn Baby Burn was like such a I mean, once again, this feels like a song that's just trying to plant eaters, plant eaters, plant eaters try to rule my world, you know. Um, I crave the flesh of the sacred
You know
cow.
what? Mostly. Yeah. Funny thing is now I'm pretty much a vegetarian these days. My wife is a vegetarian, so I eat meat, but not like you know. But it's true. I was trying to be,
That's actually a good
just
thing.
I'm trying to stick it to. I was like to make fun of people, push buttons, and that was a more
Yeah, but
adult
at
way.
that
Push a
time,
button, as opposed to the teenage way on the first album.
yeah, at that time in my life, though, I was 18 when I first heard that song, and that song was everything. I listen, I, being a vegetarian is definitely healthier for you, for sure. But it's like you know what it was? It was just sticking it to the elitist vegan, sort of mindset, and it was just a beautiful song. And Ross's solo on that is,
Yeah,
it's the what burn Ross burn, and you just go into it,
yeah,
just melting literally a face melting solo, which is perfect for a song called Burn Baby Burn.
yeah, yeah.
I
I
am the
like.
carnivore. That's what my teeth are for. Yeah. Wow. I'm just like, sorry.
Yeah,
Haven't thought about that song in a couple.
I think vegans are particularly usually unhealthy.
Oh yeah.
Vegetarians, the ones I've met, tend to be unhealthy. It's not eating. They got to eat
I don't
weird.
know what to believe anymore. Because I speak to vegans and vegetarians. They tell me one thing, and then I hear this other stuff about eating meat, and a part of me, wants to stop eating. A part of me really is thinking like the future is like being a pescatarian, some kind of pescatarian kind of guy.
Well, we have, as I said, we have teeth that were
That's
made to tear meat off the bone. That's how we evolved. So, that's why I can't get down on eating meat, and I do enjoy a hamburger. Probably my favorite food in the world is a hamburger. My last meal when I'm in prison, and they got to bring my last meal. It's going to be either a pulled pork sandwich or a hamburger. Uh, so, but
I mean,
I feel better eating a little lighter. Trying to. It's hard to keep weight off when you get older. Your body changes, and you got to go with
yeah,
also.
you sound like a guy who grew up. That's what you sound like.
I hope so.
No, there's sometimes I go to Trader Joe's. Like there are times where there's stuff I find and I'm just like, I could be a vegetarian. I could be a vegan with some of the stuff that's out there. I love those Beyond Burger things, because I feel like I'm getting away with eating a burger without
Yeah,
the impact of eating a burger. That's a good feeling, personally,
yeah. I
for
don't know
me.
how healthy those are. We bought some Impossible burgers.
Yeah, my
I
wife loves
enjoyed
them.
it. I enjoyed them. No issue.
My wife is
Having a technological triumph there. It looks like a burger,
yeah,
kind of smells and grills like
yeah.
a burger. Put on a bun, and it not quite taste, but pretty close enough where you know it will satisfy the urge.
My wife is kosher, and so she only eats kosher meat. She comes from a very religious Israeli household, and so she loves Burger King because she can have that Impossible Burger without
Yeah.
dealing with all that mishigas and whatnot. But instead of burgers, let me ask you my pizza thesis college question. This is about as educational as we get on
Okay.
Pizza Punk, and so I guess my question is in if you were in college again, Andy, and you were taking the big test, and there's the last question on the test, and they say, please, um, how would you relate? Is there any sort of correlation between pizza and punk? Is there any sort of juxtaposition between pizza and punk? How is pizza punk and how is punk pizza? And whatever you say is the right answer. There's no wrong way. It's an abstract question that requires potentially an abstract answer. And I just love hearing that's the whole point of the show is I want to hear what everybody has to say about pizza and punk. I have my own thoughts and feelings very specifically, but you go ahead.
Well, growing up in New York, pizza was a had pizza every day. I would get a slice of pizza every day. You know, I mean, I wasn't even a, you know, you walk down the street, you get a pizza, and it was cheap. And I know it's just, man, punk is street, pizza is street in New York. You know, because it's by the slice. Now it's restaurant food, and people can make their pies, and I love these pies with the, you know, with everything that are right. There's you know, the flour you make it with, the temperature with the wood oven, you know, the type of tomatoes they use, the type of mozzarella they use, you know, and it's delicious. I love pizza. I have friends that we go, you know, when I go to New York, we go try a different pizza place all the time, and I love pizza. My wife loves pizza. Um, I don't know. I have no particular philosophical attitude about it, except in New York City, it's just part of being on the streets of New York, or it used to be. Now things are very very different now.
Oh
But
yeah.
growing up, there was a, you know, for a dollar and a quarter, $1.50, you got a slice of pizza, and you grabbed it, and you walk, and you went on your way, and you walk down the street like Staying Alive. What's the Saturday Night Fever? The movie Saturday Night Fever. The
You're the
opening
second
scene, you walk
person to
down the
say that.
street with two slices on top of each other, eating it. That could have been me. You know, I didn't do two slices, but I walked down the street with two slices. You know, it was just part of what you ate as a kid in New York City.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. That's very cool. You're the second person. I'm starting to formulate opinions because you're the second person on my show to mention pizza and Saturday Night Live and John Travolta. So
Saturday Night
you got to
Fever.
be there. Saturday Night Fever. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Um,
also, I've also mentioned pizza in two of my songs.
oh, that's right. Yeah.
New York, New York. I go. I used to live on pizza. Now I live on Chinese food. I have my new song, and I got to check the lyric out.
Guys, we are here.
New
Here's
song
about
called
to.
Born Hungry. It's not even released yet. I
This
have it.
is
I guess
crazy. This is
it'll
an
be out
exclusive.
soon. And the line is, cauliflower's got the power. Eat a pizza every hour. No pineapple for me, please.
Wow.
So, you know,
I feel so honored right now.
so it's just like, who would put pineapple on pizza? You know, it's like,
So here's my rebuttal to you. Here's my rebuttal. Okay, I'm not. I'm not. This is not me yucking on anybody's yums. This is not. You know. I think that's part of what makes pizza so musical. You know, utilitarian in a musical kind of way, in the sense that it's a type of thing where anything can go on top of a pizza, even something that's yucky to you,
mm.
but to someone else,
You froze
conventional
there.
thing.
You
Did I?
just froze. I don't know.
Yeah. Hold
I
on. Let me
missed what you
take that
said,
again.
so repeat it.
Let me take that
It
again.
didn't go on a pizza, even though it's junky to me.
Yeah. And even though something is thank you for flying me in there. Anything that might necessarily be yucky to you can still go on pizza. It's still valid. Much like punk rock, you know, kind of doing whatever you want. You know, you could put anything you want on pizza
No
because
pineapple. No.
okay, fine.
You don't
An
put sweet stuff. You don't put figs. You put
hey,
eggplant. You put mushrooms. You put pepperoni. You put sausage. You know,
isn't
that's
this?
a,
But
that's pizza. I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I can rock and roll. I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I'm a traditionalist in pizza. I love New Haven pizza. I love New York pizza. I
Franca
love,
Pepe's.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I love in Italy, completely different kind of pizza. And if you go to the Middle East, they'll make stuff on a flatbread that would
Right.
similar to pizza.
Right.
But when you go to Japan, they put on pineapple and corn and that kind of stuff. Or parts of America. That's a step, one step too far.
You know, I think Andy, this is not free speech. I mean, this is going against free speech. To be able, free speech is putting whatever you want on pizza.
No, no, free speech is me criticizing them for doing it. They can do
Oh,
whatever
that.
they want.
Oh, wow,
I'm
you
not
jumped out of
stopping
that
them.
one.
I'm not stopping them from eating like a jerk, like a knucklehead. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, if you put pineapple on pizza, or you put
Yeah.
corn on pizza, like they do in England and Ireland, and you know, what are you doing? I mean, I thought you guys were cultured, but you're uncultured parts of the cultured world, of the first world. Shameful.
Hmm. Hmm. That's pretty profound. I'm going to switch gears on you to another thing that you did in your musical career that I love, that I discovered. So in 2010, I started to help out Peter Crowley with his shows. He was doing these Max's Kansas City sort of festival reunion things, whatever you want to call them. And
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember it. And Laurie saw it. He would do it in a club,
yep,
like a few
yep,
nights. He would do, yeah. I never
yep.
went, but I remember. Yeah,
There was one at the Delancey.
right.
They were at a Bowery Electric, and wait, why was I even saying that in the first place? There's I lost I have a pothole. Oh yes, and one of the bands, I was helping him with like communication stuff, and one of the bands, a name that I'd always heard, but I had never listened to their music, was the Sick Fucks, who
Oh, yeah.
absolutely blew me away. And it's funny. And then I was looking on the liner notes, and I'm going, "Oh my god, this is produced by Andy Shernoff." And I'm going, that makes so much sense, because I feel like the Sick Fucks are almost like they're totally like an adjacent of the Dictators. So they're like on the branch of the Dictator tree with their song Spanish Bar
Yeah.
Mitzvah, Chop Up Your Mother, Insects Rule My World. These are a Rock or Die. These are phenomenal songs, and the stage show is hypnotizing. And you know what kind of bummed me out? They're kind of like a novelty band in the sense that they never they put out an EP. That was it, right? Like there's no
They're still doing the same record we did 30 years
yeah,
ago,
yeah.
the same songs. But let me just go before we get
Go ahead.
off track there. Russell, the singer,
Yes.
went to school with Scott and Richard from the Dictators,
Ah,
and and they were in the same class. Ross used to live with Russell from the Sick Fox. They were roommates in the 70s.
wow. I briefly knew
And Tish and
Russell, but
Snooky,
yeah,
I mean, we've known them forever. All
yeah.
those guys, Tish and Snooky, what can I say
Manic
about?
Panic.
I adore them. They just sang on the new Dictators record that's coming
Did you hear that, folks? There is a brand new something that I thought would never happen. I thought pigs would fly before a new Dictators record would come out, and it's
within
like,
weeks. Actually, I'm
oh
waiting
my,
tonight to get the final. Unfortunately, we're doing it in the pandemic where you got to trade files over the internet.
right.
I'm waiting Ross's final power chords.
Ross, the boss, who I talk to Ross all the time in private messages, all the time, almost
What?
every day. Every
What?
single day, I
Really?
talk to Ross. Every single day, I talk to Ross.
Did you tell him
Be-
you're interviewing me?
no, I did not tell him I'm interviewing you. As a matter of fact, funny enough, and this is going to this might, I mean, this won't blow your mind or anything, but we actually have met before. I don't know if you'll remember this, but I was hanging out with this guy Joe Joe Truck, Joe Truck Casher, and he was doing a punk book that never came out. He's taking photos of various punk rockers. I was the driver. I drove to your place. We picked you up, and we took photos of you somewhere in Brooklyn. Over by the warehouses and stuff. Like the flat warehouse district sort of situation. Picked you up. He's like, "Hey, you want to pick up Andy from the Dictators?" I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Really? I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, we'll pick him up." You get in the car. Yeah. I didn't. I just said hello. That was it. It was like you. There was a brief. Joe was like, "Oh, Andy, this is my friend Jeff. Jeff, this is Andy." I was like, hi, Mr. Chernoff," something like that. And you're like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And then we went to some street corner, and you had a jacket. Like you're all like, you're like trying to, you're posing for the picture. It's really great. I don't know what he did with those pictures, but and you had I think you had sunglasses on actually, and you
Okay.
were
Yeah,
doing
I
some.
remember. I remember that photo shoot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was pretty great. I don't know whatever happened to those photos, That was that was my one cool Dictators memory. And then yeah, I started
You
talking to
talk to
Ross.
Ross every
I'm
day.
sorry.
You talk to Ross every day. What do you mean on Facebook? What do you what how
Yeah,
do you
yeah. I talk to Ross every single day because here's the thing. And again, I don't want to get political here. All I will say is this. All right, all I will say is this. Ross and I are completely on the opposite ends of the political spectrum. 100%. Ross has never met me in person. Ross is just my Facebook friend because that's what you're on Facebook. You're like, holy shit, that's a guy from my favorite punk band. I'm gonna send him a friend request, and they do. And every once in a while, you get to interact with some of these people. So Ross sees me posting stuff, and he starts commenting and stuff. And and the one at first he's abrasive, and I'm like Ross. I'm a ginormous Dictators fan. We're both Jews. We're both New York Jews. We both love rock and roll. We both love music. Let's not let our beliefs, get in the way of what we have in common. And he respected that, and I respected that. And you want to know something? He's the only guy who I'm able to talk to from the other side of things about that sort of stuff on Facebook. And let me tell you something, he sends me stuff every single day, this and that and whatever. I'm not going to get into what it is, but he just sends me stuff all the time. And the reason why it was so important to me is A, it was this guitar hero of mine, but B, like if I don't want to be in an echo chamber. I don't want to be in an echo chamber. I don't want to. We're in this giant divide right now. And it's like if we just if we cut people out, not that I knew Ross in the real world per se, but I'm just saying in general, the idea, the philosophy, whatever it is, I just don't want to, cut people out. And so I sit there trying to understand him. He tries to understand me. And yeah, we talk like, we're constantly messaging back and forth on Facebook, but I haven't heard from him. He told me that you guys were doing new Dictator stuff, and I was super stoked about it. And I just thought, I don't know, I thought it would be interesting to try and reach out to you and just be like, hey, what's up, man? Just like have you on the show. And yeah, I just think it's great that there's more stuff coming. And I can't wait to hear what it sounds like, and I'm sure it's going to be great. Do you have any kind of like idea or strategy for how you're going to go about things? I mean, how can you with everything that's going on?
well, who knows what's going to happen? You know, it's
Yeah,
you know, I don't think there's going to be any shows touring
yeah,
until 2022. Personally,
yeah, yeah.
that's what I think. A lot of people in the music business are realizing that. I don't
Hmm.
think besides the pandemic is not being abated. Once there's a vaccine, people are going to get vaccinated because they're not going to trust it for whatever reason.
Right, right.
Anti-vaxxers or they don't trust, just crazy people. So I think it's going to take a. It's my personal opinion, but so as long as that we're probably not going to be able to do any kind of real.
Ooh, you froze there.
Ooh, I lost you. You back?
Yep. Yeah, I'm back. Wait, no, your face is frozen. Hold on.
You froze. Froze.
Oh, there you go. These stupid
Can you edit?
connections. Wait,
Can you edit this?
I can edit,
Can you
but you
edit
know
this?
what? Honestly, I can. I can. If there's
All right.
anything that you want me to edit, I totally can.
I don't care. No, no, I'm saying can you edit those frozen moments?
You
But
know what?
what the
I
plan is,
don't even bother.
it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Do what you want. The plan is we're going to cut a song.
Yeah.
Uh, it's the song. The recording is done on the first song. We have 4 tracks, and one is 99% done, which is the first going to be the first release. The
Beautiful.
other ones with their vocals, maybe we got to do a solo or background vocals, or the other ones are 80% done. We
Oh,
just say, hey, let's just finish one first, get it out, then we'll do the other one, get it out, and put it online. I don't know, maybe do a video, put it on Spotify, TikTok. I don't know what the people tell
question.
me Bandcamp. People say, Andy,
Yes. Yes.
Bandcamp is the
Yes.
way to go.
Yes.
Why? I don't know. I didn't know.
You know why? Because that's just where I think between Spotify, Bandcamp is more artist friendly. Like they're better to the artist.
Yeah, but
Spotify is like
you can be on
the
Spotify
Walmart.
and Bandcamp.
Yeah, both of them.
Probably will then. Probably do it
Listen,
all.
I'm sure. I mean, Andy, you probably already have this. I'm probably just like I probably sound really stupid even saying this to you, but I'll just say you have like a TuneCore account, right?
No.
Okay, you should get a TuneCore account if you want to. What TuneCore does is it puts you in all that. You pay a fee. I don't know how it works exactly,
Oh
but
no. Oh, okay.
basically,
No. For my solo stuff, I go through CD Baby.
oh, you do CD Baby. Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
I'm perfectly happy with them.
cool, cool,
But
um,
yeah, it's
cool.
they're fine. That's all my solo stuff is all through CD Baby. Yeah. I
Um,
I heard about them also. For some reason, I weighed the advantages. I just went with CD.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Um, but yeah, no, Bandcamp is cool because it's just like this is just like this is the marketplace. This is the marketplaces where music like people that are really serious about consuming music, they go to Bandcamp. Bandcamp is a place of discovery, but you also have bands that have been around for a long time are also on there, and it's just like
Not longer
Spotify
than us.
too.
Not
Huh?
longer than Dictators. We go there.
Oh man, dude, you guys are coming up on 50 freaking years of being in, the pop culture zeitgeist. What a mind-blowing thing
It is.
to be there at the beginning and to be there now, right?
Yeah.
For like when you think about
Unbelievable.
like the idea of what punk is.
Hey, I like making music.
Yeah.
My philosophy is every day you make music, it's a good day. So I try to make music every day. I always
What
have
why
through my whole life, my entire life. I always, I'll play guitar, I'll play piano, I'll write a
yeah,
song. I'm recording, I'm
yeah,
playing, I'm touring. I never, I get, I made money from a lot of different things, but and I've always had an income from music, but I never had. I had one hit single in Ireland. I produced a band that had a hit single there,
really.
but otherwise, I'm just a working musician. I ain't a hit maker, and I'm a working musician because I like working. I like making music. That's what I do.
Yeah, but that's beautiful. That's beautiful, man. I think you are living the American dream in the
I think I'm
sense
very
of,
lucky. I no, I
yeah,
do not deny it for a second that I found something I like to do. I
yeah,
went out there. I could do it every day. I could do it by
yeah,
myself.
yeah,
I get royalties.
yeah.
Sometimes I get big royalty checks. I, you know, I just got a song in a video game. The Cream
Nice.
movie, the new Cream
That's what you
movie.
need. That's the good stuff.
You
Yeah.
see the Cream movie? The
Which one?
movie about the Cream magazine.
Oh no, I have not seen that
Okay,
yet. What's that called?
well, I think Cream.
It's called Creep.
Over the final credits is my song. The first song in the movie is my song. I
You
could
used to
song.
write for Cream. You
I
wrote
did.
for Cream.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even before the music you were writing, right?
Before I was a writer before I was a musician.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
You
had my
knew.
own fanzine. I wrote for Cream, for Wee Magazine. I was friends with Lester Bangs and
I
Richie
was about to say
Meltzer,
Lester Bangs, right? Yeah. Huh.
Mike Tachis. These guys were all my mentors to some degree and
Yeah.
gave me work. And yeah,
That's crazy. What was I gonna fuck? I forgot what I was gonna ask you about. We were talking about being there at the beginning and then being at there at the. Oh, now I remember what I was gonna ask you, dude. When are you gonna write a rock musical? That's what the world needs. No, that's what the world needs. An Andy Shernoff rock and roll musical. It would come, as you said. That's what you do. You write music. You got to write a rock and roll musical. You got to do it
I'm not
somehow, some
looking that
way.
far.
You
It's a
gotta.
lot of work.
Man,
I'm
it's
into
a lot of
I'm
work, but
into I'm into taking the joy in the day, carpe diem. Uh, I'm not, say write a book, write a musical. Wow,
yeah,
wow, it's a
yeah.
lot of work. I don't know if I want to do that, unless I
Andy,
somebody
Andy, I want
back
it all,
me,
man.
unless they want to pay me or somebody wants to pay me up front. Hey, I'll do my
Oh,
best.
if I had the, I'll have to look into my little black book and see what I can pull up. Not that I have anything, but man, yeah, no, I don't know. I just think that I just think it's so cool that you
Well,
guys are
thank you.
still
I mean, I
here doing
appreciate
things.
that you're saying
Yeah,
that, but
yeah.
my mind, just letting you know, my mind is like I want to get up every day. Like I get up and have my coffee,
Yeah.
and then I news, and then I work, play my dogs, and then I walk, go for a hike, and then I music, and then I make dinner, and
Let me see something real quick.
I'm not
Just
into. I'm just not super ambitious,
yeah.
anymore. I just want to make music. I'm not into changing the world.
Well, you are definitely prolific when it comes to that stuff. And then you had a band. There was the Master Plan, which I
Yeah.
never really dived into. I got still got to check that out. But I remember that was on my radar. That was around the time. That was also around the time when you were doing the second, whatever. I guess that was the second reunion of the Dictators. The Dictators Forever and the
Master Plan
Dictators.
was probably late '90s into the 2000s. We
Okay.
made two albums. Actually,
Yeah.
first album we made for them was the first time I got a royalty check from a record company. We did it so
Wow.
cheap. It was some friends
Wow.
of mine, and
Fuzz
we got
Tones.
together. We put some songs together. We did some touring with Europe 3 times. We played around America, East Coast. Never went anywhere outside of that.
Yeah.
Had a good time. We were actually Keith Strang, who's the guitar player, plays in the Flesh Tones,
Yeah.
in Sweden now, and we've been
Flush Tones. Fuzz
communicating.
Tones.
He says, "Let's do something again. I'm coming to New York to see my daughter in December. Let's record." And we got up with a guy who wants to record. But Bill, the drummer, is going. I don't know the COVID. I got to come to New York. I'm safe up here. Everybody lives in different places. You know,
Yeah.
it's like Keith is in Sweden. Paul, the guitar player, is great guitar player, is in Virginia.
Yeah.
Bill's in Troy, New York. I'm in Mount Trimper, New York. So it's a whole logistic thing. It ain't when you're a kid, it's easy. When you're adults, it's really difficult.
Is it it's pretty cold up there right now?
It's a warm, beautiful day.
Yeah?
A little chill, but it was
Yeah.
beautiful.
That's great.
Yeah.
There's nothing like New York fall, man. There's
Oh
nothing
yeah,
like it.
I'm right in the middle of the Catskills. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Things starting to change.
Yeah.
I love every. My favorite season is winter. I never. Who would ever say their favorite season is winter? And I don't
When I
even
was
ski.
younger.
I
When
don't
I was
ski.
younger it was.
Why? I just love it. It's the most beautiful season. Everything is white. It's all
Yeah.
white.
I That's what I loved about it, but every year I get older, I every year I get older, I just become less and less tolerant of cold weather. It just every I'm born in the winter. I feel the affinity for winter. I am a skier. I've been skiing since I was 2. I love skiing. And still I love the aesthetics of snow. But I find that lately New York winters have just we haven't been getting any snow, at least not where I'm at. And so it's like, oh, so I'm getting all the cold without any of the benefit of the snow. So, what I'd rather just be warm. It just bums me out. But ideally,
You're a New
if
York Jew, about to go to become a Florida Jew.
that's so true. That's what we
You
do.
just, you're not a leader. You're a follower. That's,
It's
you're
my
not doing.
it's in my
I, you know,
blood.
so
It's in my
I'm
blood.
right. I'm right by Bel Air and Hunter Mountain. I'm right 20 minutes from each of those ski areas.
And you don't ski.
I went one time. I have to go back. I have to learn how to do it. I don't know. I should. I keep saying I want to do it. My wife doesn't want to do it, so yeah, I have to find. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is your wife musical at all?
Maybe this winter. So again,
Is your wife musical at all? Does she
you
do any
froze.
music stuff? Hello.
Yeah,
Yo, yo,
go ahead.
yo.
I hear
Is
you
your
now.
is your okay. Is your wife musical at all?
Yeah, yeah. She actually does some singing. She was a comic, and she was a ventriloquist, and
Huh.
she and she was a she toured a lot, TV shows,
Wow.
and then she's a nature photographer now. Very, very successful.
Wow.
She's been very successful. She won awards, and she just had a big thing in uh,
Mazel tov to that. That's wonderful.
like some big nature magazine, and every day she's out there taking, setting up camera traps. She goes when we go on vacation. She's always got to be a nature place. We've been to Galapagos, which is amazing.
Mm.
So and where we are here, it's tons of bears and bobcats and turkeys, and raccoons, and beavers, and it's amazing. I'm a New York City kid, and now I'm living in the country. Who'd have thunk?
You said before, as I think I was so excited that you said that there's new Dictator music, or that I had heard there was more Dictator music. You said Tish and Snooki was singing not on solo stuff, on Dictator stuff
Yeah.
specifically.
They sang on the song that's going to come out soon.
Oh
They
my
did great,
goodness.
amazing. They really put the song over the top.
Oh man, that is so exciting. That to me is truly exciting. Really, truly. And I guess it makes sense to do it, bit by bit instead of doing like this is not an we don't live in an album world anymore. We live in like a single world again.
Right. That's what first we said. We got four songs. Let's
Yeah.
finish the four songs. Then and we're in the middle of this. I said, thinking, why do we have to finish four songs? Why don't we finish one song, then finish a second song? One song, put it out, finish a second song, put it out, finish a third song, put it out, record four more songs, finish them. This way
Yeah.
we're always busy, and we got. I just think it's better to put out a constant stream of
Yes,
songs.
I agree.
Hopefully people like them all, and then we're rebuilding our fan base. After all these years.
Have you made has there been any sort of like press or anything that like you guys are doing, that you guys are gotten back together or doing any music? This has just all been
There's been a
really
few
like
articles I've been doing.
yeah.
I think almost every week I'm doing an interview for a podcast or something like
Oh,
this.
beautiful.
I'm
That's
doing this.
wonderful.
But it's not big
Right. Right.
podcast. But Ross has a bigger megaphone. He's online. I'm not really online that much.
Yeah,
Ross is down
Ross is
there,
online.
promoting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing his thing. It's okay, but it's good. It might help us. And the drummer for the band is Albert Bouchard, who used to be in the Blue Oyster Cult.
Whoa, wait, your drummer is in Blue Oyster Cult, or was in Blue Oyster
You
Cult?
there?
Yeah, hello. Oh man, that keeps happening. That's so annoying.
Was in the Blue Oyster Cult.
Was in the Blue Oyster Cult, and the beginnings. Sandy Pearl, who was a manager of the
Sandy
Blue Oyster
Perlman. Yeah,
Cult.
we were managed and
Pearlman.
produced by the same team that managed them. So
Gotcha.
I've been friends with Albert since '74, I guess '73, '74. You
That's a
know,
good fit.
and I've always been friends with him, and we've played together. And Albert's always got to record for some things for him, and we've always been. I've always admired him, and when we did this, Ross came to me and Scott and said, "Hey, let's get Dictators together." We said,
Oh,
"Oh, okay."
that's
And
great.
who you want to play with? And I said, "Hey, we got to get Albert. Let's get him on the recording." And I said, "Albert," I called him up. I go, "Albert, I'm going to answer your question, but you're going to say yes because you can't. I'm not going to accept a no." That's the relationship I have with him, which I could just say, "You're doing this, Albert." But he
Yes.
said, "I told him we want to record on the new Dictators recording." He goes, "Okay." It wasn't. I was pretty sure he was going to say yes, but I had to make sure. I said, "Ross, Albert, you're not going to say no." And then while we were doing the recording over the past 2 or 3 months as we're doing it, he said I want to be in the band. So if we ever play live, we'll have him
Yeah.
in the band.
That feels so right. That feels like a
That's
good
great.
fit.
Oh, it's great. It's he's tremendous contribution. Just not just drumming, singing and arrangement wise, production wise. He's an all around talent. Albert. He wrote a lot of the songs for Blues. Sang
You're
a lot
doing
of
the
the stuff.
bulk. You're doing the bulk of the singing.
On these four songs, first four songs, I'm singing three, and we got Ross on one.
Wow, that's great.
Ross
That's
is going to do
great,
his
man.
first vocal.
So
But
it's like classic. This is classic girl go crazy. It's like back to the egg.
I think it is. I think it is. Of course, it's 40, 50 years on, but
Yeah.
that's that spirit. That's what Ross said he wanted to do. that kind of thing. And me and Scott,
That's great.
I was kind of over Dictators, and Scott was also,
Right.
and
Right.
thought about it,
Understandably.
you know, and just said, okay, let's go, let's do it.
The world
And
needs
happy I
dictators
did.
right
Very
now.
happy. We got some good
Sorry.
songs. I think people are gonna be happy when they hear it.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna be happy no matter what. I'm just
Yeah.
as I just said unironically, I said or no, I mean ironically, I just said that the world needs dictators right now, not even realizing what I was saying.
Well,
Um
we'll see. To use a line from one of the new songs, uh, it's senior citizens who don't give a damn. That's what we are.
yeah.
Senior
Cool,
citizens
man.
don't give a shit. Like I was a teenager, didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
We're gonna make some music.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
People like it. Wow, even better. But we have an audience. We got to regain it. We have to make people aware because they're getting old and dying off. To be honest, but
Man,
they
there
will.
are
I don't know how old are you?
I am about to be 35.
Okay, well, that's young. Hey, maybe if we can get guys in their 30s and girls in their 30s, I would be thrilled. If I
I
said,
think you will, and I think you're gonna have to be, if it's not you, then Ross. Someone's gonna have to be social media savvy, especially in the age of COVID. But it's
guys that we're gonna have to promote it ourselves at first. But we
yeah,
have we have people. There have been people who say, "Oh, we have somebody's going to book the band."
yeah,
Um, I have there's some record company people I know say, "Oh, well, hey,
good,
send me." I don't
yeah.
know if that's the right thing, but I'm not. There's no rush. We're going to do it. Have fun. Take our time, get it right, feel good doing it.
I think we talked. I mentioned before how like, and we're gonna land the plane in a few moments because I actually have a heart out, but we were talking before. I said you're what you're doing, what you described yourself as doing is like, I mean, you're living the American dream. It's a beautiful thing. I think like within living that American dream, even more so, the most beautiful thing is when an artist remains in control of their stuff, has and I read those stories all the time about like, how or I read like articles about how this band has, the whatever, I don't know the terms and names for all the things, but like, owns the rights to the recording itself in addition to the publishing, the blah 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 blah, that whole sort of thing. I think that's beautiful too, that, in this day and age with all the technology, that, if one wants to, they can be in control of all that
Well,
stuff.
that's we own four of our records. I saw that.
You do.
Yes, 20
That's
years ago,
amazing.
I said, let's when we did D.F.F.D. I said,
Yeah.
we don't need to. We should own this. We never owned it.
Yeah.
So we own that record. We own
Wow.
the live record. We got the rights back to Blood Brothers, and
Wow.
and the Everyday Saturday. So we own the Dictators Corporation owns four masters that
That's
we
beautiful.
can make money on. Uh,
God
and
bless.
I own my own publishing. I have somebody who would I have an administrator who
Yeah.
sells the songs, to get songs, TV shows, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They get a fee for that, but they
Right.
also collect them all over the world, and that's a
Right.
lot of money that they live on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's wow. That is I mean, that's tremendous. That is like I mean, that's like the key to everything, to owning the masters is like huge,
Yeah,
a huge
we
thing.
could. There are the first and second dictator records we don't own, and we never will. I don't think.
Mm,
But such is life.
such is life.
Yeah, you know, you know, I was not always owning my publishing.
There's another song that I always thought was interesting, the lyrics, I stand tall. I think it's the lyrics, talking about I don't know if it's I don't know if it's Americana or if it's just like wholesome fun, but I just love the idea of ice cold pizza. No, so I pizza with ice cold Coke, Johnny Carson telling jokes,
So
and
that's the
lots of
third song I mentioned, Pizza. Yeah, I wrote that right after I got back from England touring with
yeah,
Australia. And this is in the '70s. England, there was no, it was like,
yeah,
now they got all modern conveniences, but back in those days, you're going into these hotels and bathrooms down the hall, and you couldn't backstage. They give you something to drink, but it's warm Coca-Cola, you know. And it was like, wow, I'm glad to be back in America, back in
I
the
just
States.
love the idea of pizza and Coca-Cola. Like it's not, every other song, songs about drugs, songs about this, songs about that, and the Dictators are singing about pizza and Coca-Cola and Johnny Carson telling jokes. And that to me, as someone, I don't drink or do drugs. So for me, and I haven't for most of my life. So for me, it's like, I love that. I love that.
Well, if
It's just so nice.
I was never into drugs. I didn't
Yeah,
understand the thrill of getting so stoned that you know what you're doing, or so high that you're not yourself, you know.
right.
So that's maybe why I'm still alive. I have a lot of friends
You look
died.
great. You look great, man.
Thank you.
Truly.
But I have a lot of friends
Yeah.
who passed away. It's humbling, very humbling.
Well, it's like you said, I mean, or it's kind of interesting how, yeah, it's like all the people that had unhealthy lifestyles are just not around anymore. Except for one. There's only one guy who's
Some had
still around.
healthy, some it wasn't their fault.
Yeah.
A lot was a lot of people, lived unscrupulous lives, and
Yeah.
it's sad they died. But some people just got cancer or some disease or an
Yeah.
accident.
Yeah. You know what I think really did it to Joey as someone who did not know Joey, as someone who has read a lot about Joey and followed Joey's life. Again, not saying this is what did Joey in, just from a super outside perspective, obviously. I wonder, I feel like the touring lifestyle must have been so hard on those guys. Because all they did was tour, 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 tour. It must have done a number on Johnny and Joey, who were touring the longest, you know. I don't know. I just always thought that had that notion, speaking of a guy, because like I mean, Joey drank, but I mean he wasn't like Dee Dee in that sort of way, right? He was pretty,
He drank. He stopped drinking at the end.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
uh, he was drunk. He was coming off a stage and he fell off and he fucked up his foot. And after that, he just stopped drinking. Literally,
Wow.
didn't go to me. Just oh. He was very strong in a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
yeah,
But he was a bad drunk for a while. You
yeah,
know, I'd say the '80s. But there were problems. He's touring with Johnny. They're not really they're just eking it out. They're not super successful. They're not a failure. So it was probably an escape. And I don't know. It's a tragedy. I mean, that's one thing that makes the Ramones so legendary. Is they're all dead. You know,
well, it goes back to what I was saying at the very beginning. You're talking about Dee Dee because like you knew Dee Dee, you knew Johnny, you knew Joe, you knew these guys, and like to me, they are like, they become like saints, of like saints of rock and
what
roll.
happens when you die younger?
Yeah, yeah,
Because you don't see them get older. They have less chance to make mistakes. You only remember the good things. And I'm not saying there are, everybody has bad things.
right.
The Ramones, but Ramones deserve every accolade they get. You know, they changed the world of rock.
They so did. I often say wholeheartedly with dire conviction that I think that the Ramones especially specifically in the punk rock world, are just as influential as the Beatles were. They literally went everywhere they went. Bands of all kinds sprung up in their place. They saw what they were doing. They were the first to, not the first, but they were this example of returning to the 1950s rock and roll. And to think that they took their name from Paul McCartney, he called himself Paul Ramone, mind blowing to me. That
I think most influential bands ever. Okay, well, Beatles, obviously.
yeah, Beatles obviously.
Stones, yeah, but
Yeah,
are Ramones more influential than the Stones? Yeah, I think there's an argument to be made that they are. You know,
I agree, man. I truly agree. Like people look at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, no, you don't understand. If you don't realize the impact that the
around the
Ramones
world,
had
all around the world.
all around the world, and it's just like, and what's so crazy is that like, again, I love seeing the pictures of the Beatles during their Hamburg years. And that's literally what like the Ramones kind of were.
Yeah,
Leather clad, it just kind of blows your mind. It really kind of blows your mind. But there's some picture going around the internet. I'm going to tell my grandkids this was the Ramones, and it's the Beatles dressed in leather, and it's just such a funny. It's so funny because it's just
but you have
like,
to remember also, everybody from my generation, the day
yeah,
they decided to be a musician, a rock star, they became music became the focus after seeing the Beatles on Ed
yep,
Sullivan.
yep,
That was ground zero for
oh yeah,
every band in the history of rock and roll.
right,
That in America, that changed so many lives. That made me think, hey, I like music. I didn't become a musician, but I was this was seemed so exciting.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I
This is the way to live your life, like these guys.
It's just like, and to think too. Again, I actually have to end this. I really don't want to because I could literally talk about this forever. But to think that everything that the Beatles did, they did in 7 years. You think about that. You think about the output that they put out. I mean, in a sense, the Ramones did a lot, and those first four albums were done in 2 years. What? Wait a minute.
Let me see, 76
Ramones
to
Leave Home.
78. Yes, I think
Wow.
Road to Ruin was 78. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
and they did it live too. So they put out 5
yeah,
records
yeah.
in 2 freaking years, did a bunch of tours. The Beatles, however, for the year of 1964 and 1965, because Brian Epstein, I'm sure I'm telling you nothing you probably already know. You probably already know this. Brian Epstein has them putting out 4 singles per year, each single per quarter, in addition to 2 LPs, world tours, and they put out 2 movies in the years 1964 and 1965. So that's 4 LPs, 8 singles, 2 movies, like tons of world tours and TV appearances.
And
It's like,
it was all brilliant.
and it was all
And
brilliant.
there was
There's not
no
a
no clinkers. Like,
not
wow.
a single clinker. And my friend once walked up to Joey Ramone um in the late 80s, I think it was. I don't know when it was. I was trying to time. He didn't tell me what time it was, but I was trying to gauge it myself, like what time era this was for the Ramones. And he goes up to Joey Ramone. He says, "Hey, Joey, why don't you?" This is my favorite story in the world. He goes, "Hey, Joey, why don't you guys ever cover the Beatles?" And Joey said this to him: "You can't mess with perfection. You just can't mess with perfection," and walked away. And I thought that was just like, Scott Kempner's a big Beatles guy too, right?
Everybody. Scott's
Yeah,
got some more of the collector music,
yeah,
reading every book about rock in the man.
yeah, yeah,
That's he reads he reads all the rock books. He's still into collecting. He worked in record stores. He
yeah,
knows he knows a lot about
yeah,
that in it.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, but a lot of passion.
A lot of passion. Listen, Andy, this was such an honor for me personally. I really want to thank you so much, truly, for coming on the show. I can't wait for new Dictators music. Definitely going to check out the master. Um, And I just want to say thank you. Be well, be safe, and many mazel tovs and congratulations on everything you've done. Even if you're kicking back, you still have, you've done enough. You've done a lot.
I'm
So
still working on stuff.
yeah.
I have
So
two things coming out in the next few weeks.
God bless.
Busy, and my catalog keeps busy. So
Write that musical, that rock opera.
uh, get it
Every
back.
day is a Saturday. We'll call it Every Day is a Saturday. That's the name of it. And it definitely
I
needs
need
to
another
involve
plot.
pizza.
I need a plot. I can just.
I'll give you a bunch of beats. Don't worry, Andy. I'm going to drive this bus. I'm going to give you, I'm going to lay it
Okay.
all out for you. I'm going to lay it all out for you. I'm going to email it to you. And I'm going to say, go, Andy, go. Just go and write it. And it's going to be the best rock
Green Day
opera
had
ever.
a Broadway hit.
They did. You see, this is what pisses me off, though. Like, oh, this is the last thing I want to say. This was in the back of my mind. I want to say this. Last thing, and then I really got to go. The dictators were way ahead of their time. That was the other thing too. Here's the problem with being the first in the door. When you're the first in the door, everybody tramples over you in the sense of like, and for this, there are a lot of other bands too. Like, look at the Stooges, look at the Ramones, even, they like when they're around, everybody's just kind of like shrugs their shoulders. And then it's like, years later when everybody's admiring the corpse and they're going, this is amazing, this is crazy, like, wow, it was so ahead of its time, blah blah blah. Sometimes artists are just not creating art at the right time, and I feel like that is so indicative of, say, the Dictators, in terms of, like, I know that like Girl Go Crazy is a renowned album, that, a revered album, but it never, just in the same way with the Ramones, like, it never broke. It never broke, maybe in the way that you guys might have wanted to break. But it's like it's gone on to have a legacy of its own, you know? And so in a way it's like its own reward, in terms of, like, sort of like being ahead of your time, you know?
Well, being first in the door also means you more likely to have a career because you were a leader. You know,
True.
you know, you sell records. I'm not. Things turned out pretty good. As I said, every day you make music is a good day, and I'm making music, and I've never stopped. You could
Yeah.
interview me in
Yeah.
10 or 20 years, and I'll just, I'll probably sit in this chair with a with a or a wheelchair, telling you, we're doing this and I'm doing this, and
Yeah.
just a music maker. I'm not a hit maker. I'm just a music maker.
Hey, in 10 or 20 years, that rock opera will be ready. Every Day is a Sunday. I'm calling it right now.
That's why.
Every day is a Saturday. Every day is a Saturday. Just wait. We're gonna have the Broadway musical, and then it'll get adapted into the film, obviously, and then they're gonna do a musical out of the adapted Broadway musical film, because that's how it goes. It's a
You got to do the soundtrack.
parabolic. Yeah. Oh yeah. Duh. The soundtrack is gonna be, the
And then
best.
the Netflix. You got to do
Yes.
something. Netflix.
Yes.
Okay, buddy.
Andy, thank you so much.